The lights came on, and I opened my eyes immediately. The digital clock powered back on, displaying 6:55. The music played again, and the announcement resumed. Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the first day of classes. We hope you are well rested. It's now 6:55 a.m. Please dress neatly and prepare for learning. The last person to leave the dormitory, please lock the door. I glanced at my wristwatch reflexively and paused. My watch showed 7 o'clock. Let's follow your watch's time, to be safe, Rose suggested hesitantly. Hurry, let's get to the cafeteria together. Passing room 307, I glanced quickly. 3 names, 2 crossed out. Xiaofei Yang, the betrayer. Many rooms had names crossed out to varying extents, but lacking more information, I couldn't discern who the survivors were and didn't linger. We reached the cafeteria at 7:20 by my watch. We each grabbed a bun and sat waiting for 8 o'clock. At 7:25, according to the digital clock, the cafeteria doors closed. Torrential rain poured down. The malice of the academy was laid bare to the surviving students. From about 1,000 initially, only around 200 remained in the cafeteria. A chill crawled up my spine. Hannah whispered, "Look at everyone's uniform numbers." I hadn't paid attention before, but now I noticed many with 3, and a significant number with 2 and 1. Some might already have been disciplined, Rose murmured. I saw the boy from yesterday, still marked with a 3. He looked uninterested in his meal, dumping his food in the swill bucket after the doors opened. I relaxed, still having 3 points, and went to discard my half-eaten bun. Jack. Rose's panicked voice made me turn, meeting her terrified gaze. What's wrong? I asked. Hannah glanced at my back. You're down to 2. Surprised exclamations echoed around us. I immediately remembered the sound from last night, followed by the cafeteria lady's words. Wasting is not a virtue. That was a rule. Hannah seemed to reach the same conclusion. There's a betrayer. The chubby boy had turned traitor. A flurry of questions occupied my mind. How do betrayers emerge? Are they still human? Can betrayers break hidden rules without penalty? These questions were cut short by an expletive. No time for discussion. We had to run to the academic building. Remembering my daily question, I quickly approached the teacher after class. Miss, I have a question. She turned, her voice gentle but her smile unnerving. Go ahead, Jack. The scenario was unsettling, no matter how often I'd seen it. I took a deep breath and asked, is there a way for us to leave this place? The teacher's demeanor changed, her tone sharp. Have you read the student handbook carefully? Rule 11. Do not attempt to leave the academy during training. Could leaving be a forbidden word? I wondered, bowing deeply as a sign of respect and apology. I'm sorry, teacher. I'll study the student code thoroughly. Goodbye for now. The teacher nodded her head. It seemed all was well, and I turned to head to the cafeteria. As I left, the teacher's voice followed me. Jack Chin, teachers remember disruptive students. I'll remember you. As I turned the corner, I caught a glimpse of the teacher standing still, her mouth unnervingly stretched into a wide smile. At lunch, the cafeteria was bustling with students huddled together, evidently exchanging information. Our dorm had agreed to share insights in the evening, so the three of us ate in silence, each lost in thought. A bespectacled boy approached us. "Hi, Jack Chin, I recognize you. I'd like to exchange information with you." It took me a moment to remember him from my class. He must have noticed me on the first day. "I have answers to 2 questions that I'd be willing to exchange with you." To show my sincerity, "I'll share the content of my questions first," he said casually, taking a seat next to us. My first question was, under what circumstances can a student break a rule without losing points? Clever question. Hannah signaled me with her eyes, suggesting a discussion, but in my excitement, I blurted out my question. "Let's exchange. My question is there a way for us to escape this place? I'll trade this answer for your first question's answer." The boy nodded with satisfaction. "The answer to my first question is punished students. Punished students can break rules without losing points." Rose, hearing this, twisted her face into a perplexed expression. She then said, "I'll exchange with you for that answer." My question was, what happens to students after they are punished? The answer is, they return to 3 points and become good children. Punished students return to 3 points. 3-point students are good children. We fell into silence. 0-point students get punished, and punished students return to 3 points, gaining immunity from losing points. They blend in with the regular students, indistinguishable. Unless normal people willingly reduce their points to 2 or 1. Obviously, everyone thought of this. Rose, the only one in our dorm with 3 points, hesitantly picked up half a bun from her plate and stopped me from speaking. "Let's talk in the dorm tonight." Rose threw the bun, reducing her points to 2, and returned. She sighed deeply, staring at the bespectacled boy. Just 1 life left now. The boy, unnerved by her gaze, also disposed of his meal, returning with a 2 on his back. I spoke up, "Then I'll share my answer." It was, "Did you read the student code carefully?" Honestly, I wasn't sure if that counted as an answer, as it was a question itself. Rule 6. Teachers will happily answer any question and provide the correct answer. That's interesting, the bespectacled boy chuckled. My second question was, if a student asks an off-topic question, like how to prove the Goldbach conjecture, how would you react? Before I could fully contemplate his question, I responded impulsively. Amazing. How did the teacher respond? Hannah asked eagerly. The boy recalled, then the teacher glitched. We were all puzzled. He kept cracking and uncracking his smile, speaking in 2 different tones. He continued. Mimicking the teacher, he began shaking his head erratically, refused to answer, refused to answer, refused to answer. Then he stopped, like that. So I said he glitched. The boy expressed regret. I wanted to see how long that question would hold him, but I was short on time, so I hurried to the cafeteria. This information was invaluable. I was shocked by the revelation. You're incredible. Hannah wiped imaginary tears. Wouldn't miss such a spectacle for the world. Too kind, he replied, his proud expression betraying him. I have a suggestion, Rose said determinedly. This gentleman's insights are valuable. Let's give him Hannah's question as well. I agreed, impressed by his intellect, and so did Hannah. My question was, is eating every meal in the cafeteria essential for successful graduation? The answer is yes. Rule 2, proper nutrition is the foundation for successful completion. At dinner, we met the bespectacled boy, Li Yi, again in the cafeteria. He shared his question for the next day. His question was, what day of the 5-day complete closed training cycle is it today? After dinner, we returned to the dormitory. Passing through the hall, I noticed a new board listing each dormitory member's name and points. I saw that 3 members of Dorm 307 and many others had red crosses next to their names. A sea of red crosses filled the board. That's Li Yi, isn't it? Rose pointed at Dorm 419. Look. All 3 members of Dorm 419, except for Li Yi, were marked with red crosses. We fell silent. Back in our room, we reviewed the day's information. Eating every meal in the cafeteria is essential for successful graduation. Rule 7. The ultimate purpose of entering the study center is to learn, and students are welcome to ask teachers questions at any time. Rule 9. The graduation test will determine if students have achieved the final purpose of this cycle. Those who do not graduate successfully will be punished. Rule 12. Students are expected to follow the rules to achieve the ultimate purpose and graduate successfully. We highlighted these particular rules. In fact, we encountered a problem while discussing the student code yesterday. Rules 2 and 7 mention 2 key terms, ultimate purpose and successful graduation, both repeated in Rules 9 and 12. If ultimate purpose meant learning, then successful graduation must have another meaning. But then I had a critical realization. Rule 7. The ultimate purpose of entering the study center is to learn, and students are welcome to ask teachers questions at any time. We had already proven the second half of this statement false. What if the first half was also false? I remembered the teacher's words after my question yesterday. Students are expected to follow the rules to achieve the ultimate purpose and graduate successfully. I recalled the teacher's responses to other students' questions throughout the day, her smile wide each time. Today as well, when she said she'd remember me, I caught a glimpse of her wide smile. It was highly likely that the teacher's abnormal smiling state was a necessary condition for answering questions or providing useful information. I get it. I stood up, my heart racing with excitement. What if the last sentence of Rule 12 isn't a parallel structure but a causal relationship? If the ultimate purpose is successful graduation, it all makes sense. The ultimate purpose isn't learning. If it's not learning, then successful graduation might mean escape. Tomorrow I'll confirm with the teacher, Rose said, holding her head. Feels like my brain is going to explode. As she clearly expressed no desire to think further, Hannah and I discussed Rose's question. Punished students become good children, returning to 3 points, and are immune to point deductions. Punished students are the traitors, harmful to students. But traitors seem unable to act directly, only misleading students or helping the night patrol monster by opening doors. This wasn't hard to notice. In fact, after an afternoon of elimination, many students had already figured out how to distinguish traitors from regular students. In the hall, I noticed that most of the surviving students had 2 or 1 as their points. We finally determined Rose's question, will a punished person who hasn't successfully graduated be punished again? We had dismissed the use of the term ultimate result from the start. Although we knew teachers would give correct answers, the boundary between right and wrong wasn't clear. My question today also received a very ambiguous answer from the teacher. A vague right is still right. According to this rule, as long as the teacher doesn't lie, they can freely mislead students' understanding of the rules. If we used ultimate purpose to ask questions, the teacher still had plenty of room to mislead us. For example, you should carefully understand the student code yourself, it's in there. Trust that, and you're a fool. We then analyzed the next piece of information. Before we discuss, I said, surrendering, I have to admit I didn't fully share my answer from today. There's more to it. In the afternoon, I thought hard about his question and had to admit Li Yi was a genius. With just one question mark, he asked a question that yielded two contradictory answers. Question 1. How to prove the Goldbach conjecture? This is clearly an off-topic question. The teacher chose not to provide any useful information. Therefore, the teacher should be in a normal state, responding with refuse to answer. Question 2. What would be your reaction if a student asks you an off-topic question? Li Yi was cunning here, using the word for example. It's unclear whether this example refers to off-topic questions in general or specific unsolved mathematical mysteries like the Goldbach conjecture. So, the teacher assumed the scope of this example to be all questions they can't answer. When unable to answer, the teacher should refuse to answer. The refuse to answer for question 1 is a refusal, but for question 2, it clearly provides an answer, thus it is a response. Therefore, the teacher should be in both an abnormal and normal state. This information not only saves lives in critical moments but also clarifies that teachers need to be in an abnormal state to provide useful information. Li Yi's move was brilliant. Thus, our hypothesis about the key term successful graduation is confirmed. Those punished and assimilated by the school into phantoms have naturally lost their chance at successful graduation. In other words, they can no longer escape. Rose's question is critical not for its latter part, but for the two attributes mentioned earlier. The response to the latter question, regardless of what it is, affirms the former two attributes. I remember the answer I got from the teacher today. Jack Chin, teachers remember disruptive students. I thought it was a threat for asking an off-topic question. But when I left, I glimpsed the teacher still in her abnormal state, meaning this statement also contained useful information. What information can a threat have? A warning of danger, Rose muttered with lowered eyes, asserting the answer. Yes, unless that statement was a warning of danger. The teacher inferred from my question that I was planning to escape. From tomorrow, I must be extra cautious around teachers.
Thank you for taking the time to watch. If this video connected with you, I'd be grateful for your follow. Your likes and comments are not just numbers to me, they're a source of inspiration and encouragement. Your support truly means the world.